So after playing zenlesszonezero for a little bit, it kind of had me question, how do anomalies work? How do I exactly proc it? And I feel like you guys are having the same question too. So without further ado guys, I'm going to be explaining how anomalies work, how to actually proc them, and I'm going to kind of explain how every anomaly works, what passives or effects that they provide, and overall exactly how they work and how you can actually increase that and make your anomalies effect quicker. So my name is Mr. Ocean and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, but without further ado, let's just get started. So the first thing we need to talk about is how to exactly proc Anomaly. And to proc Anomaly, you need to essentially kind of find where the indicator is. So the Anomaly gauge is near the enemy's health bar when you're in combat. And essentially that's going to build up over time the more elemental damage you do. So whichever characters you have or whatever effect you're applying, over time, once you fill that gauge up, it will proc that certain anomaly. And to, talk about all the anomalies that are in the game so far, we have for Electro, we have Shock. For Ice, we have Freeze, Shatter, and Frostbite. And for Physical, we have Assault and Flinch. Fire, we have Burn. And Ether, we have Corruption. So with all these anomalies and all these effects, essentially they're going to have their own effects and different passives. So first I wanted to talk about the two types that will be dealing damage over time and as you attack the enemy, and that's going to be Electric and Ether. Since they both have the same stat, I kind of wanted to combine them two since there's kind of no difference other than its elemental type. So essentially it's going to be dealing damage instantly when the anomaly is triggered, and once that enemy is attacked, it deals extra shock or ether damage for a few seconds. And to also add to that, when you either proc that electric or ether damage, depending on that enemy, if they're weak to electric or ether, their actions are going to be interrupted. So whenever you're attacking the enemy with said attribute, whatever element type they're weakest to, they're going to be interrupted and they're going to essentially be stunned. And to kind of explain as the characters that use these elements so far, so for Electro so far is Alexandria, Anby, Anton, and Grace. And as for Ether, we only have Nicole and Zuhan so far. So next, I wanted to talk about Fire, since Fire is the only one in its archetype that will be dealing damage over time. And as you expect how Fire works, basically Burn is going to be able to cast fire damage in regular intervals to the enemy over time. And so it's essentially just going to be weakening the enemy more and more, and you're going to be adding more damage on top to the extra damage you're going to be doing. So you're going to keep that Fire burn constantly going. And to follow up with the characters so far that use Fire is Ben, Colida, Lucy, and Soldier 11. So lastly, I want to talk about attributes Ice and Physical. And since they're both the same when it comes to having instant damage, the difference is with Ice, when you freeze an enemy or have Frostbite effect, they'll essentially be frozen in state, being immobile, which will ladder the increase of crit damage taken by this enemy. However, as well, once you finish that and they will basically shatter, it will deal a large amount of damage of Ice, and it will also interrupt the enemy as well. So basically, when you freeze the enemy, you're essentially going to be doing constant damage over time as they're frozen, and then once shatter happens, it's going to be that collective damage that you've done, and it's going to be that large instance of damage. And with Physical, you're going to apply Physical Anomaly, which will give a large instance of damage called Assault, and while also will be applied will be the Flinch effect, which what Flinch does is increase the days, which will make it faster to accumulate. And so far with the characters that use Ice so far are Ellen, Sokaku, and Lycan. And as for Physical, the characters that use Physical are Billy Kid, Horin, Nekumata, and Piper. So that's all the attributes based on by each character and the element that they cast. So now I want to talk about Impaired and Disorder. So I want to first start with Disorder. So with Disorder, essentially it's a lot simpler than people think, because at first I found it confusing as to why this is happening, but I actually found now the reason why. So to explain, Disorder is essentially when you take two elemental types and you proc their anomaly simultaneously one after the other. But the thing is, once you cast the first anomaly, you have a 10-second window in order to proc that second anomaly, causing Disorder. So it's just essentially a powerful effect when you have those two types of attributes. So you need, two characters that cast different types of elements in order to do that. And nextly, I want to talk about Impaired. So this was something I was kind of curious about, and I was really wondering how this actually is. So when it comes to enemies, there are certain bosses in the game that have certain body parts. And so being able to damage those body parts enough and being able to break them causes Impaired. So it's very important with like some of the mech or construction enemies or bosses in the game. You want to focus on their limbs first, damaging them, causing Impaired. And that's the only way to causing Impaired so far. I don't know any other way as to proc that, but it deals massive damage. I believe in one of my runs that I was playing, I think Hollow Zero, I believe, I casted around like 121,000 or something. I can show it on the screen, but it was like massive damage. So that's kind of something you have to take into account when you're facing these bosses, is that's one thing you kind of want to prioritize, is taking out their limbs and just impairing them over time, because it's going to deal massive damage. And right now my characters are around 30 or to 40. So doing that amount of damage, I could not even imagine what would it be like if our characters are max level. And so with that, you might be asking, well, how can we increase this damage, or how can we increase the effect to enhance that? So we have the two stat effects called Anomaly Mastery and Anomaly Proficiency. So with Anomaly Proficiency, an Anomaly Proficiency enhances the damage inflicted by attribute anomalies. Each point in Anomaly Proficiency is equivalent to that 1% of the attributed anomaly damage. So since it's based on flat stat numbers, when you increase that Anomaly Proficiency, it's essentially going to increase that damage output that you're having with your anomaly. And for Anomaly Mastery affects the efficiency of the anomaly buildup, and each point of the Anomaly Mastery is equivalent to that 1% of the anomaly buildup rate. So again, it's based on a flat rate. So the more you increase that, the quicker it is to actually build up your gauge in order to cast that essential anomaly. So again, to simplify it and to clarify it one more time, proficiency is essentially the damage itself that's being essentially increased or affected when you cast that anomaly, and mastery is when it's going to help quicken your build-up time of casting that anomaly. So I kind of hope this video helped you understand how anomalies work a bit more, and to kind of help you go through the game a bit better as to when you're casting them and how to actually proc anomalies. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and comment down below, and make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever I post a new video. And also, if you guys have any questions that I didn't cover in this video, make sure to leave that down in the comments below, and I will feel free to answer those as I get time to. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you guys have a wonderful day. Talk to you guys later.